Good Monday morning. It's a great day to be alive. Members will please come to the chamber and take your seats. The hour for convening having arrived, all members will please take their seats. Mr. Clerk, will you please ring the bell? I trust that everyone enjoyed the ball game last night. Win, lose, or draw, it was a good game. There's no doubt about that. As is the custom, the Senate's dragging in this afternoon sometimes. We hope they'll get their business tended to, but we're going to move on to get our business tended to today. We're going to have the morning roll call. All members present will please vote green to signify their presence in the chamber, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines. Doorkeepers, please close the doors and keep them closed. As is our custom, we will begin our day with scripture reading and prayer by the chaplain, after which we will pledge allegiance to the flag of our country. Our chaplain this morning will be introduced by the lady from the 56th House District, Representative Misha Maynor. Representative Maynor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am very excited to introduce the chaplain of the day. His name is Elder Galt from the 70, and he is the regional Galt of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. He actually oversees the southern states, and I initially met him at a community event in my district, which I hope we can one day bring to the state capitol. Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, they do a lot of community efforts, not only here in the U.S., but also across the globe. And when I met him over the winter break, they have something called a giving machine. The giving machine, it reminds you of a vending machine. The difference, though, is you may buy a goat that feeds a community for a year for $100 instead of a Snicker bar. You might buy a child in an orphanage a bicycle, and it's a fabulous resource, not only for us, but for those abroad. He is the father of 5 children, and they are all girls, and he also is the grandfather to 19 grandchildren. His representative is Representative David Clark, and he really is a chaplain not just for me, but he's a chaplain for everyone in this district, in this chamber, because he oversees 168 churches and 100 meeting houses. And without further ado, please welcome Elder Galt.
Good morning. I thank you as individuals for your public service. I know it's a sacrifice to your family, to your career, and to your personal life for you to be here and represent the people of the state of Georgia. An ancient prophet taught us, "And behold, I tell you these things that you may learn wisdom, that you may learn that when you are in the service of your fellow beings, that you are only in the service of your God." I recognize you today as servants of the people, but also in service to God, and I thank you for that. We're all children of God. That makes us true brothers and sisters, no matter our background, where we come from, our race, our religion, our lifestyles, or our beliefs. In the scriptures at the time of Christ, the Sadducees and Pharisees conspired to trick Jesus into saying something controversial so they could use it against him. Then one of them, which was a lawyer, and my apologies to the lawyers, asked him a question, tempting him and saying, "Master, which is the great commandment in the law?" And they were quite sure that any way Jesus answered, that they could challenge him and say, "Yeah, but what about this? Or what about that? Is that not important?" Jesus confounded them by saying something that hadn't been said before. "Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment." But Jesus didn't stop there. He also gave them the second great commandment, which they hadn't even asked for. "Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself." And who is our neighbor? It's not measured in proximity to where we live, but it means everyone. I think the reason he gave them the second one is that they're really inseparable. You can't love God and not love your neighbor. In today's world, some approach that their solution to a problem must entirely prevail over all others. It's hard to accomplish anything that way. We can compromise and hold true to core values. The best solutions come when we truly counsel together, truly listen to those with other views, and try to put ourselves in the shoes of those we disagree with. This is what God would have us do. We believe that governments were instituted of God for the benefit of man, and that he holds men accountable for their acts in relation to them, both in making laws and administering them for the good and safety of society. We believe that no government can exist in peace except such laws are framed and held inviolate as will secure to each individual the free exercise of conscience, the right and control of property, and the protection of life. We believe that all governments necessarily require civil officers and magistrates to enforce laws of the same, and that such as will administer the law in equity and justice should be sought for and upheld by the voice of the people. In the early days of our church, the leader of our church wrote our Articles of Faith, and these principles are also taught in our day. I share a couple of them with you, and since it was written in the mid-1800s, sometimes the language may seem a little bit old, but the principles are very clear. We believe in being subject to kings, presidents, rulers, and magistrates, in obeying, honoring, and sustaining the law. We believe in being honest, true, chaste, benevolent, virtuous, and in doing good to all men. Indeed, we may say that we follow the admonition of Paul. We believe all things, we hope all things, we have endured many things, and hope to be able to endure all things. If there is anything virtuous, lovely, or of good report or praiseworthy, we seek after these things. God answers prayers. He will answer your prayers as you strive to do what's right in these sessions. I invite you to pray often and to listen to his inspiration and act upon it. The prophets have taught us, "Behold, that which is of God inviteth and enticeth to do good continually. Wherefore everything which inviteth and enticeth to do good, and to love God, and to serve him, is inspired of God." May you receive his inspiration. I testify that Jesus Christ atoned for our sins and sufferings, and the sins and sufferings of all. And I say that in the name of Jesus Christ, and now offer a prayer. Our Father in heaven, we come here today before thee with gratitude in our hearts for the many blessings that thou hast given us. We're grateful for the freedoms we have in this country, for the opportunity to be able to select good people to represent us and to create laws. We're so grateful for these individuals, particularly in this chamber today, for the sacrifices that they give up in their own lives to serve us as the people of Georgia and also to serve thee. I ask thee to bless them with inspiration, bless them with clarity, bless them with goodness and kindness, and that this goodness and kindness will come to the top of everything that they do. I bless them to be good. I ask thee to bless them to be good listeners, to listen to all points of view, to come up with the best solutions possible. Father in heaven, I ask thee to bless their families. Oh, they're away from their families for this period of time, and I ask thee to bless their spouses and their children and their other loved ones, that they may be uplifted in every way and that they may be happy. I ask thee to bless those who serve as administrative and staff people here for the legislature, that they too may feel of thy Spirit and be blessed. I ask thee, Father in heaven, to please help all of these legislators recognize that God knows who they are and that he loves them. And I say this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Take a picture.
Doorkeepers will unlock the doors. Members, you may greet the chaplain in the South Anteroom. Elder Galt, we appreciate that message, and we appreciate your blessings on us. Thank you on the members and our staff. Thank you so much. The chair recognizes Chairman Tarvin, the chair of the Committee on Information and Audits. Chairman Tarvin.
Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Information and Audits has read the journal from the previous legislative day and found it to be correct. And just something else to think about. If we will do what is necessary, then do what is possible, suddenly we'll be doing what we once thought was impossible.
That makes a lot of sense to me, Chairman Tarvin. I hope everyone listened to that. Words of wisdom. Thank you, Chairman Tarvin. Chairman Tarvin, the chair of the Committee on Information and Audits, reports that the journal of the previous legislative day has been read and found to be correct. Is there any objection to dispense with the reading of the journal? Chair hears none. The reading of the journal is dispensed with. Is there any objection to the confirmation of the journal? The chair hears none, and the journal is confirmed. The clerk will read the resolution establishing the order of business for the day. Mr. Clerk.
Representative Station of the 104th moves following me establishes the order of business during the first part of the period. Unanimous consents. Introduction of bills and resolutions. First reading and reference of House bills and resolutions. Second reading of bills and resolutions. Reports of standing committees. First reading and reference of Senate bills and resolutions. Morning orders.
Is there any objection to the adoption of the resolution establishing the order of business for the day? The chair hears none, and the resolution is adopted. First reading of bills and resolutions. The clerk will read.
House Bill 327 by Representative Cameron of the 1st, Harvard of the 2nd, Camp of the 135th, Mathiak of the 74th, Huddleston of the 72nd. Bill being entitled an act to amend Code Section 16-622 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to incest.
Judiciary non-civil.
House Bill 328 by Representative Hutchinson of the 106th, Schofield of the 63rd, Marin of the 96th, Iowa of the 50th, Mogul of the 105th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 5 of Chapter 11 of Title 16, Chapter 5 of Title 17, Chapter 1 of Title 35, and Chapter 4 of Title 42 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating offenses involving illegal aliens.
Public safety and homeland security.
House Bill 329 by Representative Maynard of the 56th, Lim of the 98th, Jackson of the 128th. Bill be titled Act to amend Part 2 of Article 15, Chapter 1 of Title 10, and Article 1 of Chapter 7 of Title 44 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to Fair Business Practices Act.
Judiciary.
House Bill 330 by Representative Maynard of the 56th, Lim of the 98th, Sampson of the 153rd. Bill be titled Act to amend Chapter 2 of Title 21 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to elections and primaries generally.
Governmental affairs.
House Bill 331 by Representative Anderson of the 10th, Leverett of the 123rd, Gunther of the 8th, Scoggins of the 14th, Lumsden of the 12th, and others. Bill be titled Act to amend Part 2 of Article 3 of Chapter 5 of Title 48 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to tax collectors.
Ways and means.
House Bill 332 by Representative Parrish of the 158th, Stevens of the 164th, Smith of the 18th, Jaspers of the 11th, Newton of the 127th. Bill be titled Act to amend Chapter 13 and Title 16 of the official code of Georgia annotated related to controlled substances.
Judiciary non-civil.
House Bill 333 by President Marin of the 96th, Iowa of the 50th, Schofield of the 63rd. Bill be titled Act to amend Title 40 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to motor vehicles and traffic.
Public safety and homeland security.
House Bill 334 by Representative Smith of the 18th, Miller of the 62nd, Workeyes of the 157th, Green of the 154th, and Roberts of the 52nd. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 2, Chapter 3, Title 35 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to Georgia Crime Information Center.
Judiciary non-civil.
House Bill 335 by Representative Corbett of the 174th, Irwin of the 32nd, Meeks of the 178th, Green of the 154th, and Williams of the 148th. Bill be titled an act to amend Title 47 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to retirements and pensions.
Retirement.
House Bill 336 by Representative Cox of the 28th, Wiedauer 121st, Jaspers the 11th, Ridley the 6th, Anderson of the 10th. Bill be titled an act to amend Code Section 8.2.23 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to amendment and revision of codes generally.
Natural resources and environment.
House Bill 337 by Representative Marin of the 96th, Willis of the 55th, Schofield of the 63rd, Davis of the 87th, Beverly the 143rd, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 11 and 2 of Title 2, Chapter 12 of Title 16, Article 1 of Chapter 2A of Title 31, and Chapter 1 and Title 51 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to seeds and plants generally.
Judiciary non-civil.
House Bill 338 by Representative Irwin of the 32nd, Jones of the 47th, Dubnik of the 29th, Mathiak of the 74th, Smith of the 70th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 6, Chapter 2, and Title 20 of the official code of Georgia annotated, the Quality Basic Education Act.
Education.
House Bill 339 by Representative Hutchinson of the 106th, Beverly of the 143rd, Wiedauer of the 121st, Schofield of the 63rd, and Mitchell of the 88th. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 1 of Title 37 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to general provisions relating to the governing and regulation of mental health.
Public and community health.
House Bill 340 by Representative Corbett of the 174th, Ballard of the 147th, Parsons the 44th, Green of the 154th, Wilkerson the 38th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Subpart 2 of Part 6 of Article 6 of Chapter 2 of Title 20 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to conditions of employment in elementary and secondary education.
Education.
House Bill 341 by Representative Scott of the 76th, Beverly of the 143rd, Schofield of the 63rd, and Davis of the 87th. Bill be titled an act to amend Part 3 of Article 6 of Chapter 2 of Title 20 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to education programs in elementary and secondary education.
Education.
House Bill 342 by Representative Bonham, 73rd, Houston in the 170th, Dickey the 145th, Gullet in the 19th, Perkle in the 169th, and others. Bill be title and act to amend Title VII of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to banking and finance.
Banks and banking.
House Bill 343 by resident of Newton, the 127th, Cooper the 45th, Stevens the 164th, Buckner the 137th, and Petrie the 166th. Bill be titled and act to amend Chapter 64, Title 33 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to regulation and licensure of pharmacy benefit managers.
Health.
House Bill 344 by resident of Limb of the 98th, Fry the 122nd, Evans the 89th, Maynard the 56th, Lupton of the 83rd, and others. Bill be titled and act to amend Chapter 7 of Title 44 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to landlord and tenant.
Judiciary.
House Bill 345 by resident of Mathiac of the 74th, Limb of the 98th, Green of the 154th, and Powell of the 33rd. A bill be titled and act to amend Chapter 8 of Title 48 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to sales and use taxes.
Ways and Means.
House Bill 346 by resident of Lumsden of the 12th, Silcox of the 53rd, Gunther of the 8th, Burchett of the 176th, Jones of the 25th. Bill be titled and act to amend Article 2, Chapter 9 of Title 15 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to jurisdiction, power, duties, and probate courts.
The Judiciary.
House Bill 347 by resident Fleming of the 114th, Carpenter of the 4th, Crow of the 118th, and McCollum of the 30th. Bill be titled and act to amend Chapter 5C of Title 48 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to alternative ad valorem tax on motor vehicles.
Ways and Means.
House Bill 348 by resident Collins, the 71st, Lumsden of the 12th, Hitchens, the 161st, Rose, the 124th, and Powell, the 33rd. Bill be titled and act to amend Chapter 14 of Title 40 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to use of speed detection devices and red light cameras.
Motor Vehicles.
House Bill 349 by resident Fleming, the 125th, Townsend, the 179th, Cameron of the 1st, Weed Hour, the 121st, Campbell of the 171st, and others. Bill be titled and act to amend Title 43 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to professions and businesses.
Regulated Industries.
House Bill 350 by resident Crow of the 118th. Bill be titled and act to authorize the assessment and collection of a technology fee by the Magistrate Court of Butts County.
Intergovernmental Coordination.
House Bill 351 by resident Crow of the 118th. Bill be titled act to authorize the assessment and collection of a technology fee by the Probate Court of Butts County.
Intergovernmental Coordination.
House Bill 352 by resident Smith of the 18th, Beverly the 143rd, Parsons the 44th, Powell the 33rd, Neal the 79th, and others. Bill be titled and act to amend Code Section 3583 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to establishment of the Georgia Peace Officer Standards and Training Council.
Public Safety and Homeland Security.
House Resolution 157 by resident Green, the 154th, Vance the 133rd, Perkle the 169th, Donahue the 31st, and Buckner the 137th. A resolution authorizing the lease of certain state-owned property located in Appleton County.
State Properties.
House Resolution 158 by resident Green, the 154th, Vance the 133rd, Perkle the 169th, Donahue the 31st, Buckner the 137th. Resolution authorizing and granting non-exclusive easements for the construction, installation, operation, and maintenance of facilities, utilities, and roads.
State Properties.
Senate Bill 3 by Senator Albers of the 56th, Kennedy the 18th, Gooch of the 51st, Anna DeVarte of the 31st, Walker the 20th, and others. Bill be titled act to amend Chapter 4, Title 50 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to organization of executive branch generally.
Governmental Affairs.
Senate Bill 223 by Senators Kirkpatrick of the 32nd, Donizal of the 27th, Beach of the 21st, Tillery the 19th, Hussettler of the 52nd, and others. Bill be titled and act to amend various titles of the official code of Georgia annotated so as to revise a committee name.
Code Revision.
That completes first readers.
Second reading of bills and resolutions. The clerk will read.
House Bill 288 by Representative Parrish of the 158th, the bill related to create the East Georgia Regional Airport Authority. House Bill 289 by Representative Bruce of the 61st, Beverly of the 143rd, McLean of the 109th, Marin of the 96th, Bazemore of the 69th, and others. A bill relating to the Department of Administrative Services. House Bill 290 by Representative Scoggins of the 14th, Smith of the 18th, Gamble of the 15th, Reeves of the 99th, Seaball of the 34th, and others. A bill relating to municipal taxation. House Bill 291 by Representative Scoggins of the 14th, Smith of the 18th, and Oliver of the 82nd, a bill relating to guardian and ward. House Bill 292 by Representative Reeves of the 99th, Silcox of the 53rd, Hilton of the 48th, Kelly of the 16th, Stoner of the 40th, a bill relating to miscellaneous provisions regarding timeshare projects and programs. House Bill 293 by Representative Byrd of the 20th, Donahue of the 31st, Clark of the 100th, Bonner of the 73rd, Horner of the 3rd, and others, a bill relating to dangerous instrumentalities and practices. House Bill 294 by Representative Deloach of the 167th, Thompson of the 12th, Williams of the 148th, Taylor of the 173rd, a bill relating to procedure for rehabilitation. House Bill 295 by Representative Hawkins of the 27th, Bennett of the 94th, Newton of the 127th, Cooper of the 45th, Jones of the 47th, and others, a bill relating to insurance. House Bill 296 by Representative Neal of the 79th, Vance of the 133rd, Gilliard of the 162nd, Holcomb of the 81st, Hitchens of the 161st, and others, a bill relating to powers and duties of the Georgia Peace Officer Standards and Training Council. House Bill 297 by Representative Neal of the 79th, a bill relating to conditions of employment for professionals in elementary and secondary education. House Bill 298 by Representative Daniel of the 117th, Hilton of the 48th, Gunter of the 8th, Oliver of the 82nd, Silcox of the 53rd, and others, a bill relating to general provisions regarding juries. House Bill 299 by Representative Thomas of the 21st, Bonner of the 73rd, Clark of the 100th, Ballard of the 147th, Tarvin of the 2nd, and others, a bill relating to appointment, compensation, authority, qualifications, training, and other limitations of associate probate court judges, crimes and offenses, domestic relations, education, military affairs, registration, and licensing of motor vehicles. House Bill 300 by Representative Smith of the 138th, Kelly of the 16th, Williamson of the 112th, Stevens of the 164th, Blackman of the 146th, a bill relating to solar power free market financing. House Bill 301 by Representative Ridley of the 6th, Smith of the 18th, Collins of the 71st, Rhodes of the 124th, Burchett of the 176th, and others, a bill relating to motor vehicles and traffic. House Bill 302 by Representative Franklin of the 160th, Smith of the 18th, Hitchens of the 161st, Miller of the 62nd, Silcox of the 53rd, a bill relating to restraining orders and protective orders. House Bill 303 by Representative Davis of the 87th, Beverly of the 143rd, Scott of the 76th, Schofield of the 63rd, Taylor of the 92nd, and others, a bill relating to regulation and specialized land transactions. House Bill 304 by Representative Neal of the 79th, a bill relating to property. House Bill 305 by Representative Dickey of the 145th, Houston of the 170th, Gilliard of the 162nd, Carpenter of the 4th, a bill relating to agriculture. House Bill 306 by Representative Fleming of the 114th, Rhodes of the 124th, Townsend of the 179th, McCollum of the 30th, Barton of the 5th, and others, a bill relating to definitions and authority to enter into multi-year lease purchase or lease purchase contracts. House Bill 307 by Representative Powell of the 33rd, Parsons of the 44th, Gullett of the 19th, Dickey of the 145th, Martin of the 49th, and others, a bill relating to public utilities, public transportation. House Bill 308 by Representative Newton of the 127th, Dubnik of the 29th, Hawkins of the 27th, Cooper of the 45th, Parrish of the 158th, and others, a bill relating to income taxes. House Bill 309 by Representative Cooper of the 45th, Fleming of the 114th, Dempsey of the 13th, LaHood of the 175th, a bill relating to regulation of hospitals and related institutions. House Bill 310 by Representative Wilkerson of the 38th, Evans of the 57th, Burnell of the 77th, Carpenter of the 4th, Green of the 154th, a bill relating to education. House Bill 311 by Representative Smith of the 70th, Stevens of the 164th, Knight of the 134th, Green of the 154th, Blackman of the 146th, and others, a bill relating to general provisions regarding ad valorem taxation of property. House Bill 312 by Representative Hughley of the 141st and Buckner of the 137th, a bill relating to regulation of fireworks. House Bill 313 by Representative Stevens of the 164th, Smith of the 138th, Hughley of the 141st, Dickey of the 145th, Jackson of the 165th, and others, a bill relating to vocational, technical, and adult education. House Bill 314 by Representative Stevens of the 164th, Houston of the 170th, Dempsey of the 13th, Green of the 154th, Douglas of the 78th, a bill relating to conservation and natural resources. House Bill 315 by Representative Taylor of the 173rd, Cooper of the 45th, Silcox of the 53rd, Mathiak of the 74th, Bennett of the 94th, and others, a bill relating to insurance. House Bill 316 by Representative Evans of the 57th, Stevens of the 164th, Williams of the 168th, Green of the 154th, and Wilkerson of the 38th, a bill relating to Hope scholarships and grants. House Bill 317 by Representative Taylor of the 173rd, Mathis of the 149th, Collins of the 71st, Seaball of the 34th, Mathiak of the 74th, a bill relating to State Employees Assurance Department. House Bill 318 by Representative Hilton of the 48th, Jones of the 47th, Dubnik of the 29th, Thomas of the 21st, Maynard of the 56th, and others, a bill relating to elementary and secondary education. House Bill 319 by Representative Martin of the 49th, a bill relating to scholarships, loans, and grants. House Bill 320 by Representative Scott of the 76th, Davis of the 87th, Schofield of the 63rd, Hutchinson of the 106th, a bill relating to health of students. House Bill 321 by Representative Scott of the 76th, Schofield of the 63rd, Davis of the 87th, a bill relating to general provisions relative to the Department of Human Resources. House Bill 322 by Representative Scott of the 76th, Davis of the 87th, Schofield of the 63rd, a bill relating to general provisions regarding ad valorem taxation of property. House Bill 323 by Representative Scott of the 76th, Davis of the 87th, Schofield of the 63rd, Williams of the 168th, a bill relating to the Department of Veteran Services. House Bill 324 by Representative Scott of the 76th, Davis of the 87th, Schofield of the 63rd, Williams of the 168th, a bill relating to the Department of Veteran Services. House Bill 325 by Representative Miller of the 62nd, Holcomb of the 81st, Neal of the 79th, a bill relating to general provisions relative to law enforcement officers and agencies. House Bill 326 by Representative Reeves of the 99th, Hilton of the 48th, Kennard of the 101st, McLean of the 109th, Mughal of the 105th, and others, a bill relating to holidays and observances. House Resolution 139 by Representative Neal of the 79th, Crow of the 118th, Gilead of the 162nd, Daniel of the 117th, Jackson of the 128th, and others. Resolution creating the House Study Committee on Alternatives to Mass Shooter Prevention Methods. House Resolution 140 by Representative Davis of the 87th, Kendrick of the 95th, Carter of the 93rd, Bennett of the 94th, Mitchell of the 88th. Resolution urging the Metropolitan Atlanta Rapid Transit Authority to reaffirm its commitment to an extension of the rail system along the east side of Interstate 20 in South DeKalb County. House Resolution 141 by Representative Hawkins of the 27th, Green of the 154th, Petrie of the 166th, Bennett of the 94th, Townsend of the 179th, and others. A resolution creating the House Study Committee on expanding long-term care options. 3 second readers.
Reports of standing committees. The clerk will read.
Representative Chris Irwin of the 32nd District, Chairman on Committee on Education, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, Committee on Education has had under consideration the following bills of the House. Has instructed me to report same back to the House the following recommendations. House Bill 81 do pass, House Bill 87 do pass by substitute. Respectfully submitted, Representative Chris Irwin of the 32nd District, Chairman. Representative Rick Jaspers of the 11th District, Chairman on Committee on Transportation, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, Committee on Transportation has had under its consideration the following bills of the House. Instructed me to report same back to the House the following recommendations. House Bill 189 do pass by committee substitute. Respectfully submitted, Representative Jaspers of the 11th District, Chairman. That completes the reading of the reports of standing committees.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. House will come to order. We'll move on to morning orders. If you give us your attention up here, Representative Inga Willis is going to recognize and introduce our Doctor of the Day, Representative Willis.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, it is my absolute privilege and pleasure to introduce today's Doctor of the Day, Dr. Wilkes, a graduate from Alcorn State University, an HBCU located in Mississippi, with a BS degree in biology, summa cum laude. He received his MD degree from the Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine and performed his internship and residency in surgery at the University of Rochester School of Medicine. Additionally, he completed his residency in ophthalmology at the prestigious Mayo Clinic in Rochester. He received the first Mayo Clinic Ophthalmic Alumni Award in 1979 for excellence, including research. He then completed his fellowship in surgery and diseases at Harvard Medical School. Additionally, he has an MBA from Kennesaw State University. He serves as a deacon at Zion Hill Baptist Church. He is a member of the Dean's Council at Rollins School of Public Health at Emory University, and assistant clinical professors of surgery and ophthalmology, Morehouse School of Medicine, and Emory University School of Medicine. Finally, he was recently selected for a 3-year term on the Alumni Council of the Johns Hopkins University Alumni Association, which has over 140,000 members. Dr. Wilkes is a board member of the Georgia State Medical Association and the treasurer and chief finance officer of the National Medical Association. Colleagues, I present Dr. Wilkes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Good to have you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Representative Willis. It's a pleasure to meet with you this morning just to bring greetings from the Georgia State Medical Association. I am a practicing vitreoretinal surgeon. What does that mean? It's exactly what she just said. I take care of patients with diabetic eye disease, macular degeneration, trauma to the eyes. I'd like to urge each of you to consider expanding Medicaid because there are hospitals in South Georgia and a few hospitals recently in Atlanta which had to close because lack of funds. I think no one knows that better than you how much finances represent the milk that help to undergird the good work that we try to do to help take care of the citizens of Georgia. I'm proud of what you all are doing. I want to see us step up to the next level and do even more. I've been happy to represent the Georgia State Medical Association as chairman of the board. At the present time, I was president of the Atlanta Medical Association. I had the good pleasure of coming to the governor's office many years ago when I served on the Georgia Diabetes Advisory Board. Again, I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to tell you how important it is for us to try to help take care of the underserved, all citizens of Georgia. Briefly, from an epidemiological point of view, minorities are disproportionately affected by diabetic eye disease. But those who do not have access to care are also affected as well. So again, let's just continue to do what you're doing and advance the level of care in the state of Georgia. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Wilkes. We can hear by your introduction you're a very busy man, so we appreciate you taking time to be here to serve us today. Representative Chokas, if you'll make your way down to the front, you're going to be my first morning order. Representative Chokas.
Thank you, Speaker. I've got a great group of students and faculty and teachers and the superintendent from Webster County. All right, guys in the balcony, y'all stand up. Superintendent Dorothy Ingram brought the students here. 17 seniors from the senior government class. Katha Scott, Ashley Grimes, and James McCullough brought them here, and I wanted them to see their capital and experience and see what we do here at the state capitol. I know it's a little bit of chaos, but thank you for making the trip. I'll see y'all shortly.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman. Chairman. Appreciate it. Chairman Hawkins is recognized for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This week, February 13th through 17th, is the Co-Age Senior Week. Co-Age began in 1977 and was established as the Council on Aging to serve as advisors to our state's leadership on issues which affect seniors of this state. Over 1.5 million Georgians are 65 and older, which is 15% of our population. Co-Age provides invaluable resources and recognizes the needs of all our seniors. In the balcony today, we have the Executive Director of Co-Age, Ms. Deborah Stokes, and some of the other members. If you would recognize them, I'd appreciate that. Thank y'all for your service.
Thanks, Chairman Hawkins. Representative Joe Campbell is recognized for a morning order, and he wants someone to come with him. Who you want there, Representative Campbell?
Representative Stephen Meeks.
Representative Stephen Meeks. He had to step out for a minute. Looks like you're on your own. Oh, there he is. Representative Chairman Meeks is recognized as well.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We have a high school group here with us today, two different high school groups, that's why there's two of us. Pelham High School, and from down my neck of the woods in Macon County with Stephen, and we wanted to thank them for coming. It's about a 4-hour ride for them to be here, so they got up early this morning and drove up this morning. They're going to drive home today, so they did all this to see what we do, so I hope we impress them. But the organization they are part of and are representing is Family Career Community Leaders of America, and it focuses on family. And I feel like if we had that group prevalent in all of our schools, we'd have a lot less problems than we do today. They're doing great. So if I could get y'all to stand up. We thank y'all for coming. They got the red jackets on. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Representative, and thank y'all for being here today, making the trip up. We appreciate y'all being here. Safe trip home. Chair recognizes Representative Crawford, Bentley, and Sampson for a morning order. Yeah. Good morning. You're recognized.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker, distinguished body, friends, and guests. I am Omari Crawford, and it's my distinct pleasure to recognize some men that you may see in the Capitol today, members of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. No, this is just not a fashion piece, but we have our annual visit on the Capitol. I am Omari Crawford from the DeKalb County District, District 84. Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated was founded on November 17, 1911, at Howard University, making it the first international fraternal organization to be founded at a historically black college and university. The founders, Dr. Ernest Just, Bishop Edgar Love, Dr. Oscar Cooper, and Professor Frank Coleman chose the phrase, "Friendship is essential to the soul," as the fraternity's motto, and I think everyone in here can understand the value of true friendship. Manhood, scholarship, perseverance, and uplift are the fraternity's 4 cardinal principles, because real men of Omega should uplift their communities. Real Omegas should render service to those who need it to the extent that their resources allow. And should any Omega do anything to deviate intentionally from those cardinal principles, then he has violated his oath and his membership should be in jeopardy. I'm excited to recognize some of the members that are here today, but I think I need to recognize a few members for this body that are members of Omega. Hank Johnson of Georgia's 4th Congressional District, Dr. Kevin James, the president of Morris Brown College, Dr. Brian Blake, the president of Georgia State, and last and certainly not least, a person who is no stranger to any of us, the former dean of this house, Mr. Calvin Smyrie, future ambassador to the Bahamas, is also a member of Omega. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I yield the well.
Quite a distinguished list there, Representative Crawford, and I like that jacket. If it was my size, I'd borrow it tomorrow. I think it's a little slim on me. Representative Stacey Evans is recognized for morning order, and she'll be joined by Chairman Tarvin, Carpenter, Representative Horner, and Representative Cameron. Are you sure you want all these guys with you?
I am sure, Mr. Speaker. But
You're
thanks
recognized, Representative Evans.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thanks for checking on me. We got some Northwest Georgia folks in the house this morning. I am so excited and honored and proud to live in and represent the city of Atlanta, but a lot of y'all know a big part of my heart resides and will always stay up in Northwest Georgia in Ringgold, which is why I'm very excited today to recognize a group of student leaders that are here from Northwest Georgia in the Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America organization. We've got students from Ringgold High School, my alma mater, Ridgeland High School, Southeast Whitfield High School, Northwest Whitfield, Chattooga, Dade County, and the Northwest Georgia College and Career Academy. They will be here for a little while. If you get a chance, please speak to them. They are the future leaders of America and in Georgia. And among them, a special shout out to my niece, Alana Godfrey. Hopefully she will be in this body with us one day. And if they will please stand so that we can recognize them, I hope you'll join me in welcoming them to the People's House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
You also had Representative Ridley with you. I missed him. Hey, isn't it always good to have folks from home here, but especially young folks? Welcome to your house. Representative Cameron, don't get going. Representative Cameron, you're recognized for a morning order.
Good morning, colleagues. Representative Tarvin and I like to recognize, and I don't know if they've made it to the gallery yet, but the Future Farmers of America from Walker County are here today. They're a great bunch of young men and women, and I'm currently working on a project with Ridgeland High School in Walker County because they do goat showing. Goat showing is a big thing up in Walker County. So anyway, I want to recognize them and welcome to the Capitol. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative. Representative Crowe has waited patiently. He's recognized for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, today is Butts County Day at the Capitol. We have a large group of representatives from Butts County made up of some of our county commissioners, members of the Leadership Butts County class, Chamber, Sheriff's Office, and several other organizations. So we'd like to welcome them here. And we got one group over here on the right-hand side and one group over on the left-hand side. So if we could get them to stand and welcome them to the Capitol, I'd appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative, and welcome to the Capitol. Well, I'm a little challenged by this next one, I can just tell you. I don't know how I missed this, Representative Williams. We should have been there. Evidently, there was a dance-off between the House and the Senate. I need your attention, a dance-off between the House and the Senate. Did everyone know about that? But evidently, we had a great team. It was comprised of Chairman LaHood, Corbett, and I welcome these dancers down front, Dickey, Jenkins, Mathis, oh man, Mathis,
yes,
Chokus, Tram,
House,
Workizer. Did I miss anyone? I really need Representative Danny Mathis to be down here.
Is Danny here?
Is he here? I know he's here.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Wait a minute now. I'm waiting just if the gentleman will. Here he comes. We have to have the Baptist Convention recognized and part of this whole deal.
All right.
Let's see. Let's do them again. Did I get everyone? Yeah, we need a little demonstration. Could we get some music? All right. Chairman LaHood is recognized to tell us what happened.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. And members, if you were not at the first ever House versus Senate dance-off, you missed a good time. Our friend in the hallway, Terry Lindell, sponsored the event, and these gentlemen and our spouses joined us for a really good time, and we had fun and saw a lot of funny things. And so our secret weapon, I have to say, was Mr. Representative Danny Mathis, Disco Danny.
Well, like he said, Danny Mathis was our secret weapon. He got out there. You've heard of the Staying Alive, John Travolta and the Bee Gees. He was, I will bury you, bury you. It was amazing. Anyway, Mr. Speaker, all that the Senate could do when we finished was just bow their heads because they knew that they'd been beat. They laid this shiny trophy right here at the House members' feet. We told them once, we told them twice, just come on back if you ever want to try again. All this house does is win. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
All right, all right. Is there a video? Is there a video? That's what I want. We'll play it. Representative Mathis, if you would demonstrate as you go back down the center aisle to your... You can't make that stuff up. I'm just telling you. Wow. Thank you, gentlemen. I tell y'all, we got to pause just for a second. I got to get a picture. This may never happen again. Nobody will believe this one. Chairman Tarvin is recognized.
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Is it possible we could just have an event, not tell anybody about it, not know who the competition was? I apologize to these men, they're all friends of mine, but I couldn't get too excited unless I saw the competition.
Well, you're right there, Chairman Tarvin. I was just learning there was not much competition from the Senate, but I want to be on this calendar next year. I want to go watch this one. Chair would like to recognize a former member who's in the gallery today, Representative Buzz Brockway. Let's welcome Representative Buzz Brockway. Hey, Buzz, good to see you. That completes our announcements. We'll move on to the rules calendar. The clerk will read the caption to HB 129.
House Bill 129, to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 4, Title 49 of the Fiscal Code of Georgia and Territory relating to public assistance so as to expand temporary assistance for needy families, eligibility criteria to pregnant women. This bill having referred to the Committee on Public Health, that committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Chair recognizes Representative Sue Hong to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and good morning, colleagues. I am presenting to you House Bill 129. It's LC 339271-EC. Essentially what this bill is going to do is expand TANF, which is Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, where pregnant women will now be eligible to receive benefits. As many of you know, TANF is received by federal block grant, and there are certain eligibility requirements, including work requirement, et cetera. And there are a lot of very needy families that are taking advantage of TANF benefits, and this bill will go ahead and extend that to pregnant women. I this is a good bill. It is one of the governor's initiatives, and I'm happy to be carrying it on behalf of the governor. And I will take any questions.
You do have a
Maybe
question.
there aren't any.
The lady yield for a question.
I do. Yes, Mr.
The
Speaker.
gentleman from the 170th has a question. Excuse me, the lady from the 170th. I beg your pardon, Representative Houston.
Is this your first bill?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Well, do you plan to introduce anything else in health?
In health? No. Not this session.
Not this session?
No, ma'am.
Well, you did a great job.
Thank you so much.
Did she say it was her first bill?
It
Wow.
is.
And she even had a visual aid to go along with that first bill. You do have a question. You do have one more question. I see the gentleman from the 176th is recognized if she will yield for a question. Representative Whip Burchett.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentlelady yield?
I do.
I was digging into this bill here. It's a pretty substantial bill here. One of the things that stuck out to me was on your LC number. It's LC 33927-EC. Is that correct?
It is.
What does that EC stand for?
It stands for Executive Council, which means that it is a governor's bill versus the Legislative Council drafting it.
Very good.
Thank you for that question.
Very good, very good. Thank you.
Lady yield for another question.
I do.
Let's get one all the way in the back to in front of you on the left. Representative Bentley from the 150th has a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentlelady yield?
I do.
I understand that this is your first bill.
Yes, ma'am.
So can you explain to me how this bill will impact the funeral home industry?
How it will impact the funeral industry?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. I do not see it impacting the funeral industry at this point, especially because this is a cash benefit for needy families and for pregnant women. So I hope that it does not impact the funeral industry.
Thank you. Thank you for answering the question. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative.
Lady yield for one more question, maybe two more.
One more, Mr. Speaker. Thank
One
you.
more. Let's see. Let's recognize the gentleman from the 6th, Representative Ridley. I think he's right over here where you sit in that area. You could have asked this question probably and saved this time from the seatmate, but gentleman's recognized for a question.
Well, now I'm confused if I need to ask a question or sit down and shut up. Does the gentlelady yield?
I do.
So, you know, it's, I guess you've seen since you've been here, it's usually customary on your first bill to give you a hard time. Since you brought one, the first ones I've seen in 7 years that we can't make a joke about, can we wait till your second time to be a little hard on you?
I think today's time was it, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I yield well.
The lady has yielded well. We have a good job. We have a speaker signed up. Representative Al would like to speak to the bill. Representative?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And that visual aid is actually mine. So today I rise to speak in support of HB 129, and I'll note I actually have special attachment to this bill because last week a legislative aide came to find me in the anteroom over there, telling me that he had a form for me to fill out to present my bill, HB 129, in rules. At which point I told him, while I wish I did have a bill to present out of committee already, he was actually looking for Representative Hong. Here's a hint for everyone, we do wear name tags. So HB 129 is a good bill. I was glad to vote for it in the Public Health Committee last week, and in a few minutes I look forward to voting for it again. But I think we'd be remiss not to take this opportunity to look at our TANF qualifications overall, as they have not been updated in the last 3 decades. And let's ensure that we are, in fact, having the effect we think we will be having by passing this bill. I'm going to refer to this visual aid over here. So let's look at where Georgia is with respect to its qualification requirements for TANF for a family of 3, meaning a mother with 2 children. Now, this is going to be some math, okay? I know it's like we're challenging people. It's a Monday morning after the Super Bowl. So to qualify for TANF benefits, this parent must earn less than $784 a month and have countable assets less than $1,000. Calculate this out, and this amounts to an annual salary of less than $9,408 per year, which is 40% of the federal poverty level. And you can see that calculation right up there. This means that 60% of very impoverished parents earning below the federal poverty level earn too much money to qualify for TANF assistance. Further, to qualify for TANF benefits, this parent must also work a minimum 30 hours a week. Doing this math for a 52-week year, this amounts to 1,560 hours worked per year. So recall, though, that this parent cannot earn more than $9,408 per year, which means that that person's hourly salary must be below $6.03 per hour. This is well below the federal minimum wage, which is $7.25 per hour. So let's do a little bit more math. Please indulge me. In order to work a job and to raise a family, a parent has to do a number of things and have a number of set expenses, right? Diapers, laundry detergent, children's medications, gas or fare for public transportation. TANF benefits have not been updated since 1991, which I suspect, sadly, is before some members of this chamber were even born. Okay? What has happened to the price of these goods and services in the past 32 years? So it should be no surprise to anyone that the cost of living is much higher now, right? The cost of toilet paper has tripled since 1991. So has the cost of laundry detergent. You'll like this. In 1991, gas cost 88 cents a gallon. Can you imagine that? And in 1991, a one-way MARTA fare cost $1, while now it costs $2.50. 30 years ago, a nominal TANF grant for a family of 3 was $280. In 2023, now, a nominal TANF grant for a family of 3 is still $280. So because this has not been updated in more than 3 decades, the math simply does not add up. And while the qualification criteria has not changed, less than a third of the number of families now qualify for TANF as were eligible when the program was originally enacted more than 30 years ago. So I know some people in this chamber might be thinking, that's good, right? We should have fewer people receiving these benefits. That's the point. But that depends on what your goals are, right? If our goal is to have as few families as possible qualifying for temporary aid due to extreme and harsh financial circumstances, then yes, we are serving that goal. But if our goal, as stated in the presentation, the excellent presentation of HR 129, is to help improve perinatal health and alleviate hardships for prospective and current parents, then no, TANF in its current form does not fully or best serve these goals. So let's all vote yes on 128, right? Let's mash that green button, right? But let's continue this conversation and look to updating Georgia's TANF criteria to match the financial realities of the present day. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I'm happy to yield for questions.
The lady does have a question.
Excellent.
Representative Oliver, to your extreme left over here, has a question.
Does the lady yield?
Absolutely.
Not only was I born, I was here when we did this in the 90s. So I remember all this very well, ending welfare as we know it. We've gone from providing TANF benefits to several 100,000 families. Isn't it true, ma'am, that the only number of folks that might be eligible for this benefit is approximately 300 Georgians out of 140,000 ladies having birth this year?
The gentlewoman knows of what she speaks.
And if you complied with the rules, the antiquated numbers, you would not be eligible because working full-time 30 hours would make you financially ineligible. Isn't that true?
The gentlewoman makes an excellent point, and I refer again to the math on the board.
Thank you.
Lady has no further questions.
If there are no further questions, I yield the well.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas were 173, the nays 1. The bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Congratulations on your first bill. The clerk will read the caption to House Bill 139.
House Bill 139 by Representative Crowe of the 118th and others to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 16 and Title 17 of the Official Code of Georgia Antietam relating to discovery and criminal procedure so as to provide for restrictions of the disclosure of certain personally identifiable information of non-sworn employees of law enforcement agencies. This bill having referred to the Committee on Judiciary and Non-Civil, that committee recommends that this bill do pass.
The gentleman from the 118th, is that where you're from? 118th, Representative Crowe, to present the bill.
Colleagues, this is House Bill 139. This is a bill we had actually last session, passed this House by a vote of 156 to 0, so I'm hoping we can replicate or exceed that this year. This is a GBI bill. It was brought to us in hopes that we could get some parity in the law for law enforcement officers, sworn law enforcement officers currently, when they are a witness for the prosecution by virtue of their jobs with the law enforcement organization, they're not required to give personal identifying information such as their home address, birth date, or personal phone number to the defense as part of a witness list. Those exceptions do not currently move over to non-sworn employees. So crime scene technicians, lab technicians, DNA scientists, they don't have those same protections. This bill would seek to change that, would add them to the list of those excluded from having to give their personal information. And then we also cleared up a concern that some had with this process by making sure that if someone leaves the agency, whether they're sworn or non-sworn, that they have to maintain the contact information with their former agency so they can be notified to receive service for court dates and subpoenas. So with that, Mr. Speaker, I will yield for questions.
Gentleman yields for a question.
I do.
Representative Huddleston, do you have a question? Gentleman from the 72nd. Or your button's mashed. You don't have, you wave?
I waive it, sir.
Thank you, Representative. You need to manage your button a little better over there, evidently. You need to take it with you when you leave, evidently. Chairman Martin is recognized for a question, if the gentleman will yield.
Gentleman yield.
I do.
This is a serious question. I mean, in rules, we talked about sworn and non-sworn, so that's everybody. It's your, isn't it true, even though the bill's written like this should include everybody under the employ of these specific organizations, correct?
Correct. Yes, sir. If they're called upon to testify for the prosecution in a criminal trial.
And further question, further yield?
Yes.
And this would include if someone, for whatever reason, wasn't necessarily a W-2 employee, but was a contractor, a 1099 employee, if they were under the employ of these organizations called upon to testify, it is your belief that this would also cover those individuals as well?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Thank you.
You have no further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I ask for your favorable consideration, and I yield the will.
The gentleman has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas were 174, the nays 0. The bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. We're moving on to afternoon orders. Representative Adunya is recognized for an afternoon order. Representative.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am Representative Segun Adena of House District 110. For starters, Black history is United States history. United States history is Black history. I celebrate Black history, U.S. history, because I stand here today as a member of this great body, as one of the first Nigerian Caribbean Americans to be elected in this great state of Georgia into the Georgia General Assembly. My favorite line when reciting the Star-Spangled Banner is, "O'er the land of the free and the home of the brave." Understanding the fight for freedom at all cost and the bravery of Harriet Tubman, Rita Daniels, Geraldine Copes Daniels, and Pauline Copes Johnson inspire my celebration. Harriet Tubman, according to her words, through the Underground Railroad, risked life and limb to guide more than 70 enslaved people north to freedom and new lives, although legend has it that she freed more than 300 people. 5 generations later, one of her descendants, Rita Daniels of Marietta, Georgia, in 2016 started the Harriet Tubman Learning Center. The center was established to directly impact the deep-rooted and growing problem of literacy in U.S. communities, with a focus on science, technology, engineering, art, and math, STEAM, for the sustainability of academic success for participating students. The center aims to provide freedom for illiteracy for any brave child willing to risk it all for their future. The slogan, "Keep going, don't give up," which is their slogan, captures the essence of what it takes to be free. Miss Daniels was encouraged by both her late mother, Geraldine Copes Daniels, who passed away 2 years ago at the age of 87, and her aunt, Pauline Copes Johnson, who is 96 years of age and is the longest living descendant of Harriet Tubman. I met them both in Washington, D.C. in 2017 at the Congressional Black Leadership Conference, at a conference of scientists and engineers, as you may guess. Their commitment to learning center and the importance of freeing young minds to recognize opportunities runs deep. Today, I salute Harriet Tubman, Rita Daniels, Geraldine Copes Daniels, and the longest living descendant of Harriet Tubman, Ms. Pauline Copes Johnson. Mr. Speaker, I yield.
Thank you, Representative. Chairman Bonner, excuse me, is recognized for an afternoon order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I've asked to be joined up here by Representative Williams, Representative Hitchens, and Representative Deloach. we rise today to recognize the 50th anniversary of Operation Homecoming. From February 12th, 1973 to April 4th, there were 54 missions flying out of Hanoi, North Vietnam, bringing former POWs home. During the early part of Operation Homecoming, groups of POWs released were selected on the basis of longest length of time in prison. The first group had spent 6 to 8 years as prisoners of war. The last POWs were turned over to Allied hands in March 29th of 1973, raising the total number of Americans returned to 591. Of the POWs repatriated to the United States, 325 of them served in the United States Air Force, 138 in the Navy, 77 in the Army, 26 in the Marines, and 25 civilian employees of American government agencies. A majority of the prisoners were held at camps in North Vietnam. However, some POWs were held at various locations throughout Southeast Asia. The prisoners returned included former politicians such as Senator John McCain of Arizona, Vice Presidential candidate James Stockdale, and Representative Sam Johnson of Texas. Georgia has always provided its best and brightest sons and daughters to serve this country during times of war and peace. More than 228,000 men and women from Georgia served during the Vietnam War. 1,584 Georgians were killed in action, 8,534 were wounded in action, 21 were held as prisoners of war, 28 Georgians are still unaccounted for, and 28 Georgians' remains have been repatriated. 1,581 Americans are still missing and unaccounted for from the Vietnam War. The mission of Operation Homecoming continues as our nation is dedicated to bringing home our fallen and honoring those who gave their last full measure of devotion for our freedom. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Chairman, can I add
Yes.
one thing? I also this morning would like to ask you to remember a former member of this body who was held for 5.5 years in solitary confinement. He was a ranking Army officer held by the North Vietnamese. Former state representative and Army Colonel Ben Purcell.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Deloach. Thank you, gentlemen. I know 3 of you that were served in Vietnam, and thank you for your service. The sacrifices for our country is always humbling to us all. Representative Jasmine Clark and the Gwinnett delegation for an afternoon order.
Good morning, colleagues. Last week, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, colleagues. Last week, tragedy struck the students and families at Meadow Creek High School as they lost.
Lady, will suspend just for a second. Members, thank you. Continue.
Last week, tragedy struck the students and families at Meadow Creek High School as they lost not one, but 2 young souls in 2 separate incidences. Rodrigo Floriano Mayan, who was 17 years old, went missing, and 4 days later, they discovered his body in an abandoned home after an apparent drug overdose. Susana Morales was 16 years old. She was missing for 6 months before her remains were discovered in a forest miles away from her home in a forest in Decula. The Meadow Creek family is mourning and grieving, as it is unconscionable to experience this much loss all at once. Will you please take a moment of silence with us in memory of these 2 beautiful souls gone too soon? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative. Chair recognizes Chairman Tyler Paul Smith for an afternoon order. Members, if you'll pay attention to this one as well.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of this House, today I rise in remembrance of Georgia State Patrol Sergeant Terry Poncho Thompson of Bowden, Georgia, who passed away on February the 10th, 2023. He was only 57 years old. He was born on February the 5th, 1966 in Atlanta to the late Robert Bob and Murtice Thompson. He was a graduate of Bowden High School and a member of Bowden Baptist Church. He was a lifelong law enforcement officer, having started his career in 1986 in his hometown of Bowden at the Bowden Police Department before moving on to the Georgia State Patrol, where he worked for 25 years. Known to most as Poncho, he was a friend to many and will be missed by those who knew him. I hope you will pray along with me for his wife, Dawn, his children, Crystal Wright, and her husband, Mike and Cora Thompson, his grandchildren, his nieces and nephews. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman Meeks is recognized for an afternoon order.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. You know, each and every week we come to Atlanta to do the people's work. We leave our families and our spouses, our children, and our at home to take care of home. Today's a special day at home. Today is Joy's birthday. She dared me to reveal how old she was, but anyway, if you will, please join me in wishing her a happy birthday. Love you, honey.
Joy Meeks has a birthday today. Nice job there, Mr. Chairman. I'm proud of you. You're smarter than I thought you were. For what purpose does Chair Lady Dempsey rise?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that House Bill 213 be moved from the Committee on Education to the Committee on Public Community Health. Both chairmen are in agreement.
Clerk will read the caption.
House Bill 213 by Representative Dempsey, the 13th and others, to be entitled an act to amend Part 3 of Article 16 to Chapter 2 entitled 20, the official code of Georgia Annotated relating to student health in elementary and secondary education.
On the lady's motion that HB 213 be withdrawn from the Education Committee and recommitted to the Public Health Committee, is there objection? Hearing none, it is so ordered. For what purpose does Chair Lady Camp rise?
To make a motion.
State your motion.
I move that House Bill 284 be moved from the Committee on Insurance to the Committee on Ways and Means. Both chairmen are in agreement.
Clerk will read the caption.
House Bill 284 by Representative Camp, the 135th and others, to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 1 of Title 33, the official code of Georgia Annotated relating to general provisions for the insurance so as to change the definition of healthcare sharing ministry.
On the lady's motion that HB 284 be withdrawn from the Insurance Committee and recommitted to the Ways and Means Committee, is there any objection? Hearing none, is so ordered. The clerk will read the caption to a group of privileged resolutions.
Honoring the life and memory of Mary Jane Perkins Gaylor. Honoring the life and memory of Douglas Lewis. Recognizing February 21st, 2023 as Clark Atlanta University Day as state capital. Recognizing January 13th to 17th, 2023 as Co-Age Senior Week. Recognizing and commending the Georgia State University Athletic Department for its outstanding accomplishments in athletics and academics in 2022. Commending and congratulating Charles Williams. Commending the restaurant industry of Georgia and recognizing February 22nd, 2023 as State Restaurant Day at the state capitol. Commending the Albany Area Chamber of Commerce and recognizing February 16, 2023 as Albany-Doherty County Day at the state capitol. Commending the Orchette Social and Civic Club on the event of its 70th anniversary. Commending the Carrollton Lions Club. Recognizing commending Milena Magorga. Recognizing commending Johannes Rosello. Commending the work of the Georgia chapter Lupus Foundation of America and recognizing February 23rd, 2023 as Lupus Advocacy Day at the state capitol and recognizing February 14th, 2023 as Gwinnett Chamber Loves Georgia Day. and for other purposes. That completes the reading of the privileged resolutions.
Is there any objection to adopting the privileged resolutions? Chair hears none, and the resolutions are adopted. We'll move on to announcements now. Representative Long Tran is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, everyone. The DeKalb delegation, House delegation, will be meeting in CLOB 510 upon adjournment. There was an error in the email. I think the email said 216. It is in CLOB 510. The DeKalb County House delegation will be meeting. Thank you.
CLOB 510. Chairman Corbett is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Motor Vehicles Committee will meet in the morning, 8 o'clock, room 606, CLOB. Thank you.
Representative Gamble is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, you're invited tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. The fellowship will meet in the House Judiciary Room, again at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. Thank you.
Chairman Mitchell is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I've been tasked to invite all of you to AME Day at the Capitol tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. through 11:30 a.m. I understand there will be refreshments will be served. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Chairman Lumsden, recognized for an announcement.
There will be a full House Insurance Committee meeting in the morning at 8 a.m., CLOB 415, CLOB 415 at 8 a.m. Thank you.
Chairman Hawkins, recognized for an announcement.
There will be a Health Committee meeting today, 2 o'clock to 2 to 4, in CAP 403. Thank you.
Representative Vance Smith, recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today, 1 o'clock, Resource Management Subcommittee of the Natural Resources and Environment Committee will meet in room 606. That's the Subcommittee of Natural Resources, the resource, 606 CLOB. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
What time there, Representative?
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock. Chairman Petrie, recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members of the Human Relations and Aging Committee, we're going to meet at 1 p.m. today. CLOB 406. 406. We'll meet then. Thank you.
Well, we saved the best two till last. Chairman Taylor is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Insurance Life and Health Subcommittee will meet today at 2:30 in room 606. That's the Insurance Life and Health Subcommittee, 2:30, 606. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Representative Nulowitz, recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Cobb County Legislative Delegation, yes, it's Monday, and we are meeting at a different time today. We're meeting at 1 p.m. in 514 CLOB. Lunch will be served at 12:30. Again, the meeting will begin at 1 p.m., 514 CLOB, with lunch at 12:30. This is for the Cobb delegation. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Well, that completes our announcements, and we don't have any birthdays. Another good day. We do have pages. If you have a page, we would invite you to come down front and have a photo with your page. And we want to tell the pages we appreciate you serving today. Glad to have you a part of our activities. Chair recognizes the Majority Leader for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that this House stand adjourned until 10 a.m. on Valentine's Day, Tuesday, February 14th, 2023.
Man, I'd almost forgotten. On the motion of the Majority Leader that this House stands adjourned until 10 a.m. Tuesday, Valentine's Day, February the 14th, 2023. All those in favor will say aye. Yep. All those opposed, say no. It's very clear to me. The ayes have it. We are adjourned.